Sorry made, but life to me is way much more. No matter what it seems to be, it's always time to make a change. Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build a bridge over troubled waters, fly. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more, no more sorrows, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. Someone told me long ago that life is just a long road. Sorry babe, but life to me is way much more. No matter what it seems to be, it's always time to make a change. Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build a bridge over troubled water, fly. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more, no more sorrow, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more sorrow, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. Let the sun all down away, shine, shine. Let the sun all down away, shine, shine. Shine, shine.
Never lose your faith in the brightness of your eyes. Never let the sorrow bring you down. Put a carry smile in your beautiful face. This way is much easier to go. Bright sun will shine. Let Jesus' love warm you up. Live happy your life and never think of giving up. Forget about your problems, enjoy living your life.
always good of getting together. It's always good to do the good. I do believe the world can be better, and I know that you believe it too. Papa, Mama, brothers and sisters, let's get ready for a new dawn. This is the time for those big changes we have all been waiting for so long. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. It's always good to getting together. It's always good to do the good. I do believe the world can be better, and I know that you believe it too. Papa, Mama, brothers and sisters, let's get ready for a new dawn. This is the time for those big changes we have all been waiting for so long. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace.
When life lends a hand, it's time to open up your heart. It is time to love one another. It's time to take part. Vibrate our ways, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate our ways, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into songs. Our dreams become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. Vibrate our ways, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate our ways, and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into songs. Our dream become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. Source of love that radiates, warming up our cold nights, supporting comfort, supporting comfort. Cascades flung down the mountain, calling the children of earth with love in their hearts, with love in their hearts. My soul never loses hope, because your love always teaches me the solution lies in hard work. The solution lies in hard work. Oh, my mother's Ephraina, harvest of wonderful blessings. Make your small son a good Christian. Make your small son a good Christian. Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky, gray bushy beard, Santa's look alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky, gray bushy beard, Santa looks alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Lord, receive our prayers and also our heart. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the light, place our pain at the feet of Jesus Christ.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our public meeting. We thank everyone for joining us tonight. Before we start, we would like to share a couple of announcements. We ask you to turn off your phone notifications and to find a quiet place to stay during this time if it's possible. Our meeting will have a 30 minutes presentation followed by Q&A. Following the presentation, we'll have a spiritual treatment with passes and magnetized water. So, we invite you to set aside a container with water to be magnetized. And we'll have a special invitation for who wants to learn more about Spiritism. Next Saturday, March 12th, at 5:15 East, we will have an online and free class on our course Get to Know to Spiritism. The theme of this week will be spirit, perispirit, and body. What an amazing topic, right? So if you are interested, join us. The registration link will be posted in the chat. We also invite everyone to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube from Spiritism Canada and the Spiritism group Path of Life. So now I invite everyone to join me with our opening prayer. So let's close our eyes if you wish, elevate our thoughts, and think in Jesus. In this moment, we would like to thank you for everything He has been done to us. Thank you, Master Jesus, for the opportunity to stay here, to be here one more Tuesday. Thank you for the opportunity to work in your field, to learn more about Spiritism, your doctrine. We ask your protection, your blessing for us, for our family, for our friends, and for all the humanity. We also ask you to protect our friend Rodrigo, who will talk to us tonight, and may everyone can learn more from him. Thank you again, and please stay with us today and always. So be it. The topic of today's meeting will be the justice of afflictions. Is the chapter 5, Blessed are the Afflicted, items 1 to 11. And it will be facilitated by our brother Rodrigo Villar. Everyone, uh, from Winnipeg. And we also would like to announce that our public meeting is being retransmitted today by Continental Conference Americas through their Facebook, and will also be retransmitted every Wednesday at 8 p.m. by Kardec Radio through their Facebook. Everyone is welcome to write comments and questions in the chat, and we will address the questions at the end of the talk. So now we invite our tonight's speaker, Rodrigo. Welcome, Rodrigo.
Hello, Marcelli. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Nice
So
to see you again.
nice to see you again. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure for us.
So we're going to start talking. I'm going to share my screen. So I hope you can see my screen. And as Marcella said, this is based on chapter 5, items 1 to 11. Blessed are the afflicted. We're going to cover today the justice of afflictions, current causes of afflictions, prior causes of afflictions, and forgetfulness of the past. This is a very interesting topic to cover because there are a lot of questions that we may have in the back of our mind. And I'm going to invite you to share with me this reflection. Remember that I'm not expert on any of those topics, but I would like to share my reflection with you, and then you can share your reflection with me, writing your question in the chat. I would like to start the talk today to show some sayings of Jesus in Matthew. You can find this in Matthew 5:4, and Jesus start talking to the people that time and said that blessed are they who weep, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are they who suffer persecution because of righteousness, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. And this is in Matthew 5:4. It's interesting that Jesus are talking to a group of people in that context, in that time, that people were in suffering. They are suffering a lot. Are those who were crying that time? And my question to you, who are those who cry and will be comforted? What Jesus is talking about? Are Jesus talking about with those that who suffer with patience and resilience and resignation? Or he's talking about those ones that are revolted and desperate? So remember that when Jesus brings this to that time, to those people, and the teaching is still valid today, he's trying to show that we need to have acquire patience and resignation, because if we are desperate and we revolt against God's law, is even worse the consequences of our action. And you probably ask yourself, but what Jesus is really talking about here in that time, Jesus was talking about the compensations. And what compensations are that? So Jesus are promising to the afflicted on earth that the real life is not here, is somewhere else. And he refers to future life. However, if you do not understand this talking of Jesus referring to future life, this sentences of Jesus doesn't make any sense. Because imagine now the situation that people are suffering a lot. They are controlled by power and fear. So they have the Sadducees, the Pharisees that control the power. They control the beliefs of the time. And if you have to believe like they do, if you don't, you are against them and you'll be punished because of that. So when Jesus come and show all this to the people that time and give them hope and give them idea of the future life, and people start to get faith. Faith is quite important in that moment. However, if you look here in these quotations, without certainty about the future life, as I said, this doesn't make sense. And then you can ask yourself, so afflictions, Jesus was talking about future life. We talk about suffering, pain. So, but the first question, why do we suffer? That's a question. So why? So that's a valid question. Another question that we may have is, why do some suffer more than others? It also makes sense, this type of question. Why do we see benefits and misfortunes so unequally divided? Why do we see virtuous people suffer alongside the wicked ones who prosper? Why some people born into poverty and others are rich? Why some people were born with uh, physical imperfections and the others not? And I can tell you, if you have faith, you probably say, because there might be a reason for it, which is good. However, faith in the future of consolation and lead to patience, but it does not explain these anomalies, which appear to contradict to God's justice. If you look at those questions and you just think about this present life, it's hard to make sense of those. So why they are happening, why they exist, and how can we judge God as just? So then I just want to come back on, and let's go back to the Spirit's book, the chapter 1 that talk about God. What did the Spirits teach us about God attributes? And let's think about that. So the attributes, God is perfect, supremely good and just. Now let's do a exercise to use a reasoning to process that idea based on what we saw before in our question. If God is perfect, is supremely good, and just, for every suffering, there's must be a cause. And that's a logical analysis. This cause must also be just because God is just. So then he cannot be unjust. If that's the case, so what Jesus brought in that time is the path. He explains to us what caused the afflictions. And what caused the affliction is our vicissitudes. Spiritism, on the other hand, complement Jesus' teachings by revealing the causes of affliction through the voice of the spirits. So Jesus didn't talk to people that time because they were not prepared to listen. They don't have the intellect and the spiritual maturity to be able to understand those messages. Then Spiritism came to fulfill the rest of the promise that Jesus told us about. They will send the consoler that will come forever. So, that being said, let's think about all this. We need to understand the cause. That's quite important. The causes of affliction. What are the causes of our afflictions? Just close your eyes for a second and just think about what caused you affliction. So why you feel that way. And we know there are basically two types. We call the current causes and the prior causes. I'm going to cover both of them as the presentation goes by. Let's talk about the current causes, and the current causes is easier to understand. The prior causes are more complicated. So the current causes are related to present life. It's what we're living now. Our choices today can be avoided. For example, I can avoid to tell lies. That's something that I can do. I can avoid to tell behind people's back. That I can avoid. So if I do talk behind people's back, that's my free will, that's my choice, and then this may cause me affliction later on. Jesus' teachings place us in the direction of these causes. So point towards our vicissitudes and give us the recipe to overcome those challenges. So think about the vicissitude and how the virtues that required to overcome. If you look at the prior causes, now you're talking about the past lives. And we're going to explore this later on, but this is just a heads up. It's inevitable. There's nothing you can do about it because it inherited to the spirit. And Spiritism comes to completely reveal these causes. And I'm going to give you some examples today. Of course, it's impossible to cover all the causes because I'm not God. I don't know the plan. So God is the only one that understands the whole plan and why things happen the way they are. But we can use reasoning and logic to figure something out and make sense of the teachings. Easier to understand the current causes of our afflictions. Our afflictions are not the result of fate or providence, bad luck, or unlucky star, or oh my God, I'm a victim. So many are the natural consequences of our character and behavior. It's consequence of our choice. So can we recognize those? Those are some vicissitudes that humankind has. And we can look at this and look where we are located here. How many of those we have? So if you don't have any, so you probably not supposed to be on Earth, or you are here in mission to help Earth to evolve. So, why I'm bringing this to us to reflect? Think about all those, detect what we have, and we need to identify these vices on us. And how are you going to do that? How you identify those vices? Exam of our conscience. Our conscience will reveal who we're supposed to blame for many of our afflictions. And many of our afflictions are not because of others, it's because of our choices. And that's a consequence of our character and behavior. Now, while the invitation here, and Jesus always invite us, is to change ourselves. So doesn't judge others, change yourself. That's what is most important. And the next question is how to overcome them, how to overcome those vicissitudes. And you can do that working our moral and intellectual improvement is the way to avoid this type of afflictions. As more morally evolved we become and more intellectual improvement we have, we are able to make sense of those afflictions and find out solutions. Do not feel those anymore. For example, if you are too selfish, so then you can start doing charity. So over time, your selfishness go away and then you overcome. What else can we talk about the current causes of affliction? So any infraction of the divine law has unavoidable consequences. If we harvest, we're gonna have to collect what we harvest. We always gonna do that. And that makes sense. If you think about our kids, that's what we do. So that's why we educate people. So if you did something bad, so you have to fix it. So the same applies for the divine law. So if you did something good, great. If you do something bad, you have to fix it. So before divine justice, every action, good or bad, are rigorously considered. Remember, humans are always punished for what they have sinned. The suffering is the sin's consequence and a warning that they have earned. Translation here. So we always gonna pay the price of our choices. If we did something wrong, we have to fix it. The divine law gives us according to our deeds. Good deed, good results. Bad deeds, bad results. When we have bad results, then come affliction and come suffering. And suffering allows us to sense the difference between good and evil. And we all have this inside us. We always have good and evil because we're in this planet. And the need to improve ourselves so that we don't make the same mistakes. So that's why suffering is key for us. Because if we don't have that feeling, the sensation, the affliction of the suffering, we keep repeating over and over again. And sometimes we do that, unfortunately. But nobody wants to live in suffering and pain all the time. Sometimes people just don't understand how to overcome them. But everyone would like to be happy by the end of the day. So experience, however, sometimes arrives a bit late, after life has already been wasted and troubled. And that's the key here. If you believe just one life, there's not much you can do. It's too late now. If you believe that's too severe and the God that punishes, the God that's very severe, so then maybe you go to hell. However, as Spiritists, we believe that God's infinite love will allow us to try again. And this is again use kids an example. So if you have a kid and they do something bad, so you're not gonna punish them forever. So you're gonna make them understand what they did wrong. You still love them and give them another chance, and then try and see if they succeed. If they fail, they try again. So God loves us so much that we have chances, and we're not gonna be left alone. Let's move a little bit. We have a basic understanding of the current afflictions, but how about the prior cause of afflictions? And that's when become more complicated because it's related to all those events in life that's not under our control. How many of us here lose a loved ones and that's not under our control? There's unavoidable accidents and life events that happen. So people has a car accident, they become have a spinal cord injury and then become paraplegic or tetraplegic. So we don't know why. There is so many things that happen, natural disasters. So why some people are in there in that moment? So birth conditions, so many Down syndrome, autism, and many others. Some rare genetic disorders and disease, even death of young children and babies. So those are very hard to understand, and that's the one that caused the most conflict inside us. Because even these types of afflictions must have a cause. Because if it doesn't have a cause, it doesn't make sense, and we rebel. We get mad at God because we judge God as unjust. Why me? Why my daughter, my son? Why my family? Why my husband? Why this and that? And then you become very frustrated and angry because of that. But if you start to understand that maybe there are prior causes to that, help you to understand that cause must be just. Why? Because God is just. So God cannot be unjust. However, we don't know what we did. The cause must be prior to this life for those events that I showed you before to make sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. And it really seems that God's not fair. And maybe it's not the case. Maybe we need to look at a different lens. So we are looking too much in the materialistic lens, and we should maybe start thinking about the spiritual lens, the spiritual life. Those events are natural consequences of wrongs that we committed previously. And that's okay. Everyone do those things, indeed that thing. And then if life goes on and life is eternal and we have reincarnation, that's the beauty because you're gonna meet those loved ones again. We're gonna meet our children again, our loved ones again. It doesn't matter how they departure from earth journey. We are not always punished in our current existence. That's important to mention because if you just stop right there, it seems like everything we do, we punish by God. And that's not true. God doesn't punish us. What we see here is the consequences of our choice that could come from the present life or previous life. But we can never escape the consequences of our wrongs. And that's a fact. We always gonna have to pay our bills, let's say that way. You cannot escape it. So let's give an example to try to make clear here. Let's say if we suffer what they made others suffer, and that's a law. So if I make someone suffer, I'm gonna suffer the same thing that I caused to be able to understand the wrongdoing that I did. I'll give an example here. Let's say if this reincarnation, I'm a very proud person, so excessive proud, and then maybe the next one, I may reincarnate into humiliating conditions to understand what I did to others. I humiliate others, I abuse them, So then you come back in that situation, because then you're going to face what you did to gain conscious about this. So let's say if we are selfish or made bad use of our wealth, so maybe we come deprived of the necessary. And the job here is not try to judge, because we don't have the ability and capacity to judge. It's just give you an understanding why those things happen on earth, and how can we explain those questions that I posed to you at the beginning of the presentation. Let's say if we were bad children, so maybe we suffer for our own children, and that's fair. So what cause comes back to you. A joke is about the life is like a boomerang. What you throw in the universe, it will come back to you. Now let's take a deeper look. So we have to change our lens from the materialistic lens for the spiritual lens to understand those. And through the plurality of existence, through reincarnation, and the function of Earth as a school, an expiatory world, as we expiate our wrongs to evolve, can explain these apparent anomalies in the distribution of fortune and misfortune in this world, for example. Because now you can understand, okay, there is a possibility that if someone didn't use correctly their wealth in the past, they make people suffer. Now they are coming as those people that suffered to be able to understand the wrongdoings and to be able to progress and evolve spiritually. Anomalies exist, and why you call anomalies, because it's really different than we consider normal. And what lens we are using to analyze? We are using only the point of view of the present life. And when we look with only this lens, we lose the understanding, because things start not making sense. However, if we examine the series of existence, if you think about reincarnation, if you have many lives, we will see that everyone receives the share they deserve, and that God's justice is never broken. So, and that's, to me personally, makes sense. It's not because I was terrible my entire life, I mistreated people my entire life, so then my last breath I regret, and then I'm safe. Yeah, it's hard for me to make sense of those. To me, make more sense that yes. So, but now you have to fix it. So, how you're gonna do that? You're gonna come back and help those that you mistreated. Another question that may come to your mind after listening to me talking is, do we choose our afflictions? And the question to you is depends. So if you are a hardened spirit, the ignorant ones that rebel, so maybe you don't have the free will to choose because you're not prepared. You don't have the knowledge to make a good choice. However, when you have a merit and you work well and you're good, you did things right, you may have a choice to choose your afflictions, because you realize that affliction you be able to help you to progress, because that's the idea of reincarnation and other opportunities, is progress, is evolution. That being said, affliction seems like very bad. However, is really interesting and good in the long run, because it's a meaning of progress. It's a ways of evolution, and bring us experience that allow us to differentiate between good and evil. However, it's quite important to understand and have in mind that not every suffering is the result of a specific wrong. Trials chosen by us to finish our purification, accelerate our advance, is also a possibility. Another possibility is mission of love and resignation requested by more evolved spirits. Just think about people that really devote their life to help others. And you can name many, many, many. I don't want to name anyone here to not be unfair. And that's quite very important to have in mind because sometimes we lost we start to get stuck with this classification and definition that you did it wrong, that's why this happened, and that's not it. So we don't understand the plan, we don't understand why other people come to earth, what they have to do. We have to look our own. So remember that those persons of naturally good instincts, of elevated spirits and noble innate sentiments, who seem to have brought nothing evil from their previous existence, and who endure the greatest afflictions with holy Christian resignation, asking God they might bear them without complaining. So when you look at those characteristics here, you probably have someone that came to earth on mission. They will suffer, but they have a different understanding of suffering, and they not complain, and they grateful for it because they asked, and they know they're important for their development. But then you can ask, okay, great. So you have all those, but why God doesn't allow us to know? Is not be easier? And that's a fair question, but the question then become, why do we forget our past lives? And I wanted to remind you that we, not all the time, but frequently, we reincarnate around the same group of people. Now think about that you reincarnate in your close circle and you hate someone in the previous life. How that knowing this information help you? So let's say someone did, so your spouse did something really bad to you in the previous life. How this information gonna help you to evolve? So that's why we have to understand that maybe forgiveness and forgetfulness will be a gift. So memory of the past could generate obstacles to our balance and progress. So just imagine, I'm going to give a very radical example. You'll have a daughter, a son that commit a crime in previous life. Then now, what you going to do with that information? Let's say if you find someone that humiliates you in the previous one. So how can you progress with that feeling? Are we evolved enough to be able to see the truth and not hate, not feel not good feelings? So let's say if we are great, we did it really good the previous one, then you will feel, oh yeah, I'm great. So and then I become so proud of myself that becomes so excessive, then I lost the ability to see myself. Interfere with our free will. So imagine if I know everyone around me and they know everything that we did in previous life, how this interfere with our choices. Imagine how they disturb us in our social relationships. And that's just a few examples to show that's why maybe we should not know. And they're going to ask me, well, how can then we figure this out? So to help us correct the mistake of our past life, so what God gave us, the voice of our conscience, we have it. We just have to listen. We have intuition. Remember those voices that you feel that, oh, don't do this or do that. Always a good thing. You should do that. Then it's our choice to listen or not. But God implemented on our conscious His voice. The spirits are there communicating with us, in tuning us to make good choices However, if you connect with not as good spirits, then we may be having trouble. When we reincarnate, we bring whatever we have acquired in previous lives. So we never lose. It's just get more and more knowledge as the time goes by. And my last question is it possible to know at which point we failed in our previous existence since we don't remember? And the answer is yes. And like, what, Rodrigo? How come? I'm gonna tell you that. Even though we forget the facts, our current bad tendencies will indicate the type of moral weaknesses that still remain with us to be corrected. And that is what we should concentrate our attention on. As Jesus used to say, know yourself. Excuse me. Know yourself. Because if you know yourself, you're going to detect your tendencies and you start to figure out how you can work to overcome. And this is my invitation to you today, that we can understand that all of us had good tendencies and bad tendencies, that we can identify those, and we have to make our moral weaknesses stronger. And then you have to concentrate our attention, ourselves, and our self improvement, not the other people. Everyone is responsible for themselves, and we should help each other to succeed. Thank you very much for listening to me. And I'm open for a question. I'm sorry that I take a little bit longer.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo, for your presentation and reflection on this topic. It was a really, as I put as a comment in the chat, it is a great and deep reflection. Yeah, thank you so much. We have
It,
a few questions.
it's
Yeah,
really hard to cover this in a short time.
yeah, it is. So Publio is asking, we can minimize our afflictions, understanding that the cause can be avoided in this incarnation, and those that come from another existence we cannot modify. Is that right to say that?
No, we can. Well, what you did in the past, you cannot modify. You can change the future, as Chico Xavier used to say. You cannot change the past, but you can write the new future. And that's the point. So, what did you did in the previous one, you gonna fix in that one, and you gonna try to avoid that mistake to avoid this vicious cycle to happen.
Okay. We have another one. Rodrigo is asking, how can we overcome these prior causes of afflictions and start doing the right thing? There is a formula for it. Who could be the best model? Three really great questions.
So I'm gonna start for the last. Who could be the best model? Jesus.
Yes.
So that's I'm gonna be like the Spirit's book. So
Uh-huh.
question 625, which is the best model that humankind
Yes.
had. So
Jesus
Jesus.
Christ.
There
Yes.
is a formula for it. Yes, know yourself. How can we overcome this prior cause of affliction? Start doing the right thing. Just knowing yourself, reflect, use the voice of your conscience, and connect to the good spirits. Then the information will come to you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your um, explanation and for everyone who puts the questions in the chat. Okay, so thank you for the participation in the chat and thank you, Rodrigo.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Have a great night.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
Bye. So now we will move to the preparation for tonight's spiritual treatment. Pass is the transfusion of spiritual energy with the goal of assisting with our physical, emotional, and mental balance. Passes help us to restore a state of harmony and peace by replacing negative energy with health positive energy. In order to receive the best benefits from passes, please follow the audio instructions or remain in prayer. You may close your eyes to help with mentalization. During the pass, the water you set aside will also absorb the spiritual energy that you and your family can benefit from. So we will now make our prayer for preparation for the pass, which will be our closing prayer as well. Okay. So thank you, Master Jesus, for this great topic, this great lesson we had tonight. May everyone can learn and practice in our lives. May we can learn more. May we can try to be a better person every single day. And may we remember that you are Master Jesus, our best model, that we need to remember your steps and follow your teachings. We ask you and the good spirits to protect us and help everyone in this planet during this treatment, and even the people who are not here, may they can be benefit from the treatment. So we once again we thank you for everything you have done for us, and we ask your blessing for this week, for our sleep this night. Uh, Bless our thought, our actions, and our lives. And please, we ask for peace in this planet. Stay with us today and always. So be it.
Let us now prepare ourselves for the moment of the passes and the magnetization of water. Let's now calm our hearts, breathing in and out. Pay attention to your body. Focus on your breath and let yourself be carried by this energy. Let your thoughts pass by without judging them. Let them flow. Allow this light to be the beacon that guides you, and allow these words to penetrate your energy. Make each word an anchor of gratitude, faith, and trust. With the purpose of healing, which takes away my faith, healing every feeling of separation, of pain, let it all dissolve in this moment, leaving only love, gratitude, and trust. We ask God for the presence of our guardian angel and the friendly spirits who welcome us into this enlightened environment of our Spiritist Center. We open our plexus of love and forgiveness by mentalizing a light surrounding our hearts. Find a quiet and comfortable place to begin the mentalization process. Remove all worries from your thoughts. We ask that during the pass you breathe slowly and deeply. Let your body relax and surrender yourself to a deep meditation. Calmly imagine divine energies in soft and colorful light surrounding you in an environment of peace and spiritual warmth. Entrusting God with your most intimate desires, raise your thoughts to Jesus and the emissaries of the spiritual environment. The pass begins with the cleansing of your soul. Imagine a waterfall of crystal clear water pouring over us, removing all the feelings that keep you away from faith and trust. Feel the energy of this water bathing you, and deeply breathe in, feeling peace and harmony. Allow this water to wash away all the impurities and spiritual larvae, washing away all the sorrows and resentments, any feelings of hatred and revenge that hold us back and cause us harm, not only from this life, but past ones as well. Now visualize spiritual doctors around you, applying magnetic cleansing passes, sanitizing your spiritual body of all sadness and negative energy. Mentalize these negative thoughts and feelings being washed away, evaporating from your soul, like water evaporating into thin air, and being carried far away from your mind. Surround yourself with the faith that bathes your being, bringing clarity and lucidity, rebalancing every cell in your body. May the water envelop all pain and bring the clarity of opportunity that chooses peace. The answer arises in our hearts, freeing us from all evil and freeing all whom we have caused evil into and who have caused us evil. Washing away all the connections that bind us. Even though we may not understand, we are freeing ourselves from all that causes us harm. Feel this cleansing penetrate your soul and release. Now that we are spiritually cleansed, imagine yourself surrounded by the light of love from the hands of Jesus. At this moment, sing words of faith and gratitude, being faithful to the light that exists in me, planted by the zealous Father. Imagine the sunlight that surrounds and enraptures, freeing us from the chains of everything that holds us down, strengthening your faith. Allow yourself to trust in this light, surrender to it, involved in pleasant feelings and feeling relieved to receive the strengthening lights. Mentalize your spiritual mentors now applying divine light for the strengthening of your mind and your emotions, leaving you feeling emotionally revitalized. Let us now mentalize the magnetization of this water. May we mentalize all the friendly spirits, magnetizing this water and filling it with everything that our bodies, minds, and soul need, so that it may be of help to us when we drink it after the Pass. Thank you, God.
Have a good night, everyone. See you next Tuesday at the same time.
Come on, my friend, come to the light. Here with all our heart and soul, let's follow Jesus Christ. Let us preach the peace, let us preach the love. And this world already wonderful will be much more. Get up, look at the sky, in the earth where the flowers bloom with sunshine. Let's hold our hands and be together on this road. Then we take peace and love and spread it to the world.